Hello everyone, and welcome to our overview of Git. In this tutorial, we're going to learn everything to do with Git. Why do we use Git, and why is it beneficial for you to learn? Basically, what is Git? Well, in order to answer that, we need to look back even further. We need to look at what a version control system is. Git is simply a type of version control system. It is just the most popular one in use right now. So, what is a version control system? Version controls allows you to manage changes to a file over time. It allows multiple people to work on a project with ease. It keeps track of any and all changes that have been made, and one version of the project or code will be available and ready to be in use. Let me give you guys an example. If everyone in your class is coloring in the same picture, one boy might really do an amazing piece of coloring, but another boy or girl who's really bad at coloring could just come and scribble all over it. And her scribbles might make it into the final picture rather than the first boy's original coloring, the first boy or girl's. Version control can undo the work that the bad person or the bad coloring person did and keep the good coloring person's coloring. Another example is if the whole class gets a section of a paper to color. Everyone would have to wait until the previous person finishes their section so that they can pass the paper over and start coloring again for their own section. Well, version control solves this issue, as everyone will be able to color their parts, and at the end all the colors and all the pictures would get merged together into one big picture. Here are some of the benefits of using a version control system. It keeps a history of your work. This is useful because when you make a mistake, you can roll back, which refers to just returning to a previous version of the code before you made the mistakes. It often keeps this copy in a different physical location than your local development copy, which also works as a backup system. Version control also allows for collaboration while handling conflicts. If two people are working on copies of a program on their personal machine and they just upload the changes that occur to a central location, they can get into issues where both people are working on the same file, and then one person will upload their copy or update their copy, followed closely by the second person updating theirs, which causes the first person changes to be lost, since the second update didn't include the first person's changes, because the second person, let's say they were unaware of the changes. These conflicts, along with the pickup of all new challenges or changes from other developers, are handled by the system. This issue will never occur because of version control. Version control also allows for branching. Sometimes you want to make a second copy of the code that is worked on independently from the main line of work. For example, if you want to release a beta build to the public, you may branch that build. This allows you to keep working on the main release of the build, but if you found a really bad bug in the beta, you can go back to the beta branch and fix it without having to pick up all the additional changes on the main branch that you have also been working on. Also, you might want to disable certain functionalities in the beta, but want it to remain on the main code path. A couple versions of or examples of version control systems include Git, which is the one that we will be focusing on today. Their other versions are SVN, Helix Core, ClearCase, Mercurial, TFS, etc. Each of these systems have their own uses and their own benefits, but I believe by far the best one for us to learn is Git. Git is an industry standard, and literally any office or workspace in this environment that you will be working in will probably be using Git. Now, there are two types of version control systems. The first main type is called the distributed version control system, and the second one is called the central system. Git is an example of a distributed system. A central system has one server or location where all the code or project is being stored. Whenever you want to change anything, you must access it from that location and then store it on that location once again after your changes have been made. Distributed is a little bit different, as it means that there are multiple locations where the project can be. It can be on a local machine or even on a server. You can have multiple versions across multiple locations if you so choose. However, that is pretty bad practice. Distributed is generally a better solution because if one repository fails, then you will still have access to the code, unlike a central system where if the repository fails, your only hope would be that there were backups that were made. So then, why are we learning Git? Git is the most widely used version control system and is now the standard across the industry. Every developer-related job will expect you to know and how to use Git. Beyond that, Git should be used even for your own personal projects, as it is an excellent tool to manage and store your projects. You will be able to keep track of any changes you made, and they will be documented so you will never forget, even years down the road when you don't even remember what you coded. Collaboration becomes much easier, as it's much better than sending zip files to colleagues and friends. Another really cool feature about Git is the ability to branch, and we'll talk more about this in a couple videos. Alright guys, this is an overview of what Git is and what version control is. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you for listening.